So I did a video earlier today about AT&T's mess up with buying DirecTV and having to sell it. It looks like at a $50 billion loss. They paid $67 billion for it. And if they're lucky, they'll get $16 billion for it. If they're not lucky, if they can't get it off their hands soon enough, they might lose another $5 or $10 billion on it. So they're hustling to sell it as quick as they can. But separate from their DirecTV, they decided it would be a cool idea to buy Warner, what's now WarnerMedia, Time Warner. And they spent like $105 or $109 billion just buying WarnerMedia because they figured if they had WarnerMedia, they could pair that up with DirecTV and AT&T's normal wireless services and DSL services. They could just do something super fantastic. But they can't. They don't have management for it. And now on top of this, with the pandemic, they're in serious trouble. DirecTV really should be doing okay. They're just managing it terribly, so they're losing millions of subscribers. And WarnerMedia is in big trouble because they rely on movies coming out. Movies should be coming out, but they're not because of the pandemic. And they recently put in the head of former creator of Hulu, who is a very entrepreneurial guy, an interesting guy, young guy, but he can't fix this problem. He might be able to launch a streaming service that's pretty good with HBO Max. It's got some success so far, but that's not saving them from now doing massive, I'm going to say it one more time, massive layoffs at WarnerMedia. They're trying to cut 20% out of their expenses. That is a huge number. Cutting 20% of expenses out of a business, especially a business of this size, it's enormous, is the best way to put it. It means there are entire divisions they'll just shut down. There's entire departments they will close because they're a media company with different brands and different labels of film companies. They have duplication, which is normal because to market certain kinds of movies or certain kinds of TV shows, you want a marketing team that knows how to market those kinds of shows. And there are different branded divisions within the film labels that they own. So it makes sense to have some of that, but you can't afford that luxury of marketing your movies well if you can't afford to keep the damn thing going. So let's get into the article. Before we do, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications. I appreciate that support. WarnerMedia, the entertainment division of AT&T, is readying to slash thousands of jobs to help reduce costs by as much as 20%. This is coming from, of course, the New York Post. According to a new report from last Thursday, the division, which includes cable channels HBO, CNN layoffs, Hollywood Studios, Warner Brothers, and streaming service HBO Max, has been hammered by the pandemic, which has delayed film and TV production and crushed the movie industry. Yeah, if they put, like, just as an example, $200 million into making a movie, and they're like, okay, let's sell this movie. Like, all right, well, they could do that. So they're in such trouble over this because they have not been able to make and distribute the movies they normally would make and distribute. So they're saving some money on not having to invest in making new movies. That's fine, but that's not really saving money. They need to invest in product and keep that pipeline full, because if they don't, then they're not really in the business. They're not in the movie business. The restructuring, which is expected to kick off in coming weeks, would result in thousands of layoffs across the company, according to the Wall Street Journal. Thousands of layoffs? Didn't they just lay off some people from WarnerMedia and completely remake DC Comics? And yeah, they did. They laid off something like 800 to 1,000 employees. But that's not nearly enough to cover what they need to cover. When they make changes like this, if they're going to lay off 20%, this is to recoup 20% of costs, not necessarily 20% of their employees. It may be more than 20% of their employees. that kind of a change is a change where they're expecting that there's a new normal, so to speak, for the business. Because they're not going to get rid of all these people just to hire them back in January. When they start laying them off over the next few weeks, and they're putting that into this quarter, this last quarter of the year, that means they're going to start January. But that's like what their next 5 years that they anticipate. They're not going to anticipate wanting to have these people on staff and these expenses in place. Like the rest of the entertainment industry, they say, we have not been immune to the significant impact of a pandemic. A WarnerMedia rep told the Post that includes an acceleration in shifting consumer behavior, especially in the way content is being viewed. We shared with our employees recently that the organization will be restructured to respond to those changes and prioritize growth opportunities with an emphasis on direct-to-consumer. All right, well, direct-to-consumer makes sense. We're in the midst of that process, and it will involve increased investments in priority areas and, unfortunately, reductions in others. Wow. So, like, Fandom was great for WarnerMedia and DC. They had, 22 million views in just their first show. They had a lot of direct-to-consumer interaction. That's fantastic. So they'll do more of that kind of thing. But that's a reworking of their whole business structure. Under newly minted chief executive Jason Kilar, who took over the division in May, WarnerMedia has undergone a lot of change. In August, the former Hulu boss chopped 3 top executives, including Bob Greenblatt, chairman of WarnerMedia Entertainment, and hinted at broader layoffs at Warner Brothers. According to the Journal, Wall Street Journal, the company has already cut 500 jobs at its Warner Brothers studio in August. And then, 300-400 jobs in other places, including DC Comics. The cutbacks follow the company's revelation in July that the pandemic cut into its second quarter earnings by $830 million, including a 22.9% drop in revenue from WarnerMedia thanks to fewer ads and a halt in movie ticket sales. Yeah, apparently it's they're expecting the box office for 2020 to be down, not just for WarnerMedia, but for all of the movies' box offices to be down 81%. They're expecting 20 as compared to 2019. They expect 2021 to be down 35% from 2019. So they're expecting a bounce back in 2021, but obviously who knows what the hell is going to happen. Since then, AT&T has been trying to cut costs through layoffs and sales. It's currently trying to offload its struggling satellite TV business DirecTV, as well as ad sales unit Xandr. While WarnerMedia is trying to stem those losses, it's also trying to build up its costly new streaming service, HBO Max, in order to compete with the likes of Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and Hulu. But growth has been slow. Only 4.1 million subscribers activated the $14.99 a month app roughly over its first May launch, which is not considered a bad launch. That's a reasonably good launch. As consumers opt for less expensive choices from rivals, like Disney is less than half the price, Disney Plus. Overall, as of July, HBO Max, when combined with HBO, has 36 million subscribers, which lags Disney Plus with over 60 million subscribers and Netflix with over 180 million subscribers. Earlier this month, AT&T CEO John Stankey told the Journal that the company's media bets, such as HBO Max, will take time to pay off. He has no idea what's going to happen. I mean, AT&T should have never, I don't know what you think in the comments below, but they should have never bought these companies, especially not without strong managers who are like, hey, this is my cool, passionate vision that I know I can deliver on, like that people, their name and you're excited about the management. They didn't have that. At the same time, he said he was reviewing all operations for AT&T. That means they're definitely firing people. When you're reviewing operations, that means we're looking at who we can get rid of. There's nothing that's sacred anywhere in the business, Stanky said. WarnerMedia is no exception to that. Now, that is not something you should say publicly. You should not say that there's nothing sacred in the business, because that means that there's nothing really special about your business. This is the kind of thing that Stanky needs to tell Elliott Management, the investor who put $3 billion into Time Warner. And it appears from some of these announcements about like the immediate forced sale of DirecTV, which should happen very soon, as long as the private equity investors can raise the debt money to buy into DirecTV, because it still brings in some money, then they will be selling it very soon, the next month or two probably. But that's Elliott Management pushing them. And then you also see them talking about stuff like this. HBO Max mulls adding commercials to classic movies and select new shows. How are you going to add commercials to classic movies and select new shows? How are you going to have commercials, in content when you're charging $14.99 or whatever a month to subscribe to the channel? You can't really do that. What they could be doing is create a free version of HBO Max, like Disney did with Hulu. And believe it or not, some people don't even know this. Amazon was just like, all right, let's create a advertising supported subscriber channel. It's a free channel. Well, they have that with now ibd.com. Their internetmoviedatabase.com. How the hell they have like 30 million subscribers to that? Like, snap their fingers. Amazon has a monstrous management team, and they have incredible advantages. They're very, very sharp. Amazon would never have gotten into this situation. Not that they play fair, but they do play smart, and they tend to win. That much is impressive. And then you also see AT&T killing DSL. Here's another article. This just came out a couple days ago. Leaves tens of millions of homes without fiber internet. So AT&T stops connecting new DSL users with only 28% of territory having full fiber. So why are they doing this? Because AT&T said last year it was mostly done expanding its fiber service. At the time, would only expand fiber incrementally in areas where it makes financial sense for AT&T to do so. So they can't make money doing this. So they could spend money like endlessly upgrading services, but they're like, well, I don't know. Should we spend millions and millions and millions of more dollars and get in further debt giving DSL to people just because we want everyone to be able to have fast internet? It would be really cool. No, they're not going to do that. They can't. They've done enough stupid stuff. They can't do any more stupid stuff. At some point, they run out of money to continue to do silly things. So, and then I have viewers that will tell me, like, they'll point me to another article. Another article's like, they keep doing completely ridiculous things. So that's what's going on at WarnerMedia. They're going to have thousands and thousands of layoffs. They have something like 26,000 workers left at WarnerMedia. How many are they going to get it down to? Maybe 15,000? Who knows? It's going to be like less and less and less and less. And the problem is, it's good for them to cut expenses if they need to kind of get their finances under control. But the problem is, like, they got to figure out what their business model is and get serious about it and really do it. I'm impressed with Jason Kilar. I've seen a couple of his talks and things he's written. He did create Hulu, so he should be able to have success with HBO Max. But this is nightmarish. This is a mess. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Can you believe they're going to have yet more layoffs again? How many employees do you think they're going to wind up with? Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and you click the bell for notifications. That's a huge help to me. And check out collegeofdead.com. That's my ongoing zombie apocalypse series. And the current one is College of Dead Graduation Day. You can get that one. You can get the first one. The prequel is also available. Ships immediately. And coming soon, epicmermaids.com. Sign up to get on the email list for The Mermaids, my ongoing full-color series. It's like Game of Thrones with mermaids. I am sure you're going to love it. All right, I'll see you again soon with another video, and if I don't see you, I will miss you.